Yo, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another YouTube video. For any of you guys that are new here, my name is Levi. And sorry if I'm lowering the camera faster than usual today. I kinked my neck the other day at the gym, and it is kind of affecting my vlogging or videotaping arm, I should say. So today I didn't really work out, kind of took it easy, took a day to recover. Right now I'm in the middle, as you guys just saw, kind of just going through the KillBuillt inventory, updating everything before the new year starts. You guys might be wondering, like,
why don't you keep track of the inventory, like, as you go throughout?
I try my best, but sometimes, like, when friends come over and buy stuff, when people, you know, get something from a giveaway and whatnot, I might forget to track something here and there, so I'm just going through everything right now to make sure the numbers are up to date on the website. The reason this struck in my mind is because I couldn't find an XL sweatshirt the other day. I was like, dang, I may have literally sold out of those without even knowing, without tracking the quantity properly. So I'm gonna get through all this, get it squared away, but that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is what not to do as a hybrid athlete. This is so dope. I got these new lights, and they're just like the coolest thing ever. You guys might be like, that's
really boring, I wanted to get on with the video.
But it gives the video such a good look, and that's why I like it. If you guys are wondering why I got them because Devin and I run an agency together, and I knew it'd help with the video looks and whatnot. And obviously by the way the video looks, I can see it through my camera right now. It looks stellar. But anyway, I mentioned in a previous video that I've been getting a lot of DMs recently about hybrid training. I've been getting comments on YouTube, and people are basically kind of eating up the topic. Like, they love it. I think people are starting to realize, you know, hey, look, cardio is actually good for me. It's good for my well-being. It's good for my mental health. It actually enhances, you know, my performance in the gym. It can actually help to make me stronger. And I love that. And I love getting DMs about it. And I love that you guys are, you know, taking action in life and whatnot. However, I want to help you in taking that action, because when I started to do this kind of training, there were some things that I neglected that I wish I hadn't. In other words, there's a lot of don'ts, or not a lot, but there are some don'ts to this style of training. One of those don'ts is don't disregard recovery. In other words, you need to do your recovery. And the reason being is because dude, I cannot tell you how many years I went on with just lifting and running and all of that, and then eventually at one point it just caught up to me. My freaking sciatic nerve, which I've talked about in previous videos, was just bugging the living hell out of me. My IT band was so tight that I could barely roll out at times, and it eventually started to affect my lifts, it affected my runs, and eventually I kind of felt, I wasn't, I know that for sure, but it kind of almost felt like I was paralyzed. Like, I couldn't really go and do my workouts as efficiently. I couldn't enjoy them as much. Like, what was it, like over a year ago, I remember going into the gym. I just absolutely hated going to the gym. And the reason being is because I was so tight, my muscles hurt all the time, and it was because I was neglecting my recovery. I don't want you guys to ever get to a point where you hate working out, you hate going for runs because you guys are neglecting recovery. I think too often in the space of fitness, we separate these two, which is recovery and training, when really we should keep recovery under the umbrella of training, or in other words, make it part of our training regimen. And the reason being is because our recovery enables us to continue to train. So you can't have one without the other. That's why I like to incorporate them as one rather than two separate things. I also think that our brains don't like having two separate things, because then it's just one more thing to do. But if we categorize it as one, it's just easier to do. I don't know, that last part was a hypothesis, so I can't say that's for sure, but it definitely helps me out a lot when I just kind of umbrella training with recovery. Also, you guys are probably wondering, like, what does recovery look like for this? I would say you need to include 15 to 20 minutes every single day at least of recovery for hybrid training. Some of you guys might be like, okay, you know, I need to recover, great, but what do I need to do? What's a recovery, you know, protocol that I need to follow? Well, I'll link something down below that you guys can follow. It's what I do every single day for recovery. I also have a couple days during the week where I prioritize recovery. Not everyone wants to do that, I get that, but I will put my training, or not training, but I will, well, yeah, it is my training protocol, but I'll put more specifically the recovery protocol that I follow, so that you guys have something to go off of. For some of you, that may have been the most odd way to ever open up a supplement. I don't know, that's how I always open up supplements. Protein powder, creatine, hydrate. whatever it is, anything with like that plastic top that kind of keeps it sealed, I always just grab a knife, cut the top, peel it off. I don't know, what method do you guys use? If there's a better method than the one that I use, and I also punch it at the end if you guys saw that. But if there's a better, more efficient method, let me know. I kind of like my method, so you guys have to come up with something pretty cool for me to switch my ways. Right now, we are drinking some Hydrate. I actually haven't had this flavor. I believe it's a new flavor. Actually, I gotta get that one more shake.
12 seconds later.
The pink, is it pink lemonade? No, raspberry lemonade. My favorite flavor of Hydrate is the peach mango as of right now. That's actually really good. I expected it to be like sour, but it's not. That takes the cake over the tropical punch, so it's gonna go, still like peach mangoes first. This one's gonna be second, and then the third is going to be the tropical punch. And while we are on the topic of hydration, because this right here is a hydration mix I just made myself, I'm gonna talk about one of the other things that you don't wanna do as a hybrid athlete, and that is not properly hydrate. A lot of the times when people think like, oh, I'm hydrating myself, that means I'm drinking a lot of water, and that is not the case at all whatsoever. Actually, drinking too much water can dehydrate yourself, because proper hydration is having a good amount of electrolytes and a good amount of water in your system. In other words, it needs to have a balance. Drinking water is great, yes, and some of you guys know I'm coaching wrestling this season, and a lot of the kids are huge on drinking water, and I've told them like, hey, look, I love that you're drinking water. I love that you're taking it seriously. But one of the things that you also have to account for is the fact that you're losing not only water, but you're losing electrolytes as well, which are super crucial for athletes. Which is why I'm bringing it up in this video, because as a hybrid athlete, you're putting your body through more demand, which is causing your body to sweat more, which is causing you to lose a lot more of those electrolytes. Just to pinpoint how important they are, one of the electrolytes found in like this mix, or just the electrolytes in general, is sodium. And some of you guys may or may not know this, but sodium helps neurons communicate. And if your body has sodium in it, it can communicate a lot more efficiently as opposed to if it doesn't have enough. That's why it's super critical, especially for athletes, because we want those neurons firing, we want them communicating to each other so we can perform better. Also, not being hydrated can lead to a lot more other things like brain fog and a lot more other bad side effects. So make sure you're getting your proper hydration in. Again, that doesn't mean just water, it means also having your electrolytes. And you don't have to have a mix just to get your electrolytes in. You know, you can have a banana, you can have a little bit of salt, you can have other things, but for me, I just find a hydration mix makes things a little easier because it has everything that I need in a scoop or two. If you guys are interested at all in picking up this mix, code Levi will save you 10% off at Transfer Labs. There is a link down in the description for it. Right now, we have to go head out. Some of you guys know in a previous video, I mentioned I had a hernia scare, and they found out that it wasn't a hernia, but they still wanted to do an ultrasound to make sure that there was no hernia down there. So that's what we're gonna go do right now. Got these packages at home. Some of them for the giveaway and some of them are KillBuillt packages. Well, there's only one KillBuillt package. So it's not packages, it's package. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Okay. So I figured I'd tell you guys how the whole thing went and to give you guys some news about the hernia, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't have one. Thank God, man. Thank God. Thank you, actually, God, thank you so much. But yeah, I'm really happy about that. I was shook for a while, and honestly, I was just more so worried about like my mental well-being. Like if I don't get my workout in, man, like mentally I'm just not good throughout the day. There's something about those endorphins that makes me just feel at peace after my workout. Don't know exactly what it is. Well, I kind of have a theory, but not gonna get into that. So another do not as a hybrid athlete that I want to talk about is, some of you guys know my neck shirt. It doesn't have to do with any correlation of me overtraining. I just tweaked it. But you guys know I've had some injuries in the past, and I have had a couple of overtraining injuries, and that is going to be my next thing. And it is going to be, don't be an extremist. And you might be like, what's an extremist? And so an extremist is like, this is my best way to put it. Don't try to train for a marathon and bodybuilding at the same time. Can you lift and do a marathon at the same time? Yeah, you can definitely like lift weights while you're training for a marathon, but at the rate at which you do that, there needs to be some give and take. So obviously if I'm, weight training while also preparing for a marathon, I'm not gonna be weight training as much as I normally would if I wasn't preparing for a marathon, if that makes sense. Like you have to give and take at certain points in your body. That's why I said don't be an extremist. Don't try to do both running and lifting or whatever your endurance type sport is that you're doing as a hybrid athlete. Don't try to do each at their extremes. In other words, try not to be David Goggins.
Stay fucking hard!
Don't be like this guy who, like, dude, David Goggins, don't get me wrong, amazing guy, love the dude, huge inspiration, read all his books, still an inspiration to this day, but don't be him and having to get your knees replaced and whatnot. Like, I'm trying to teach you guys how to basically like improve your longevity and your overall health and whatnot, so I don't want to see you guys overtrain. That's essentially what I'm trying to say. And you might be like, well, how do I prevent overtraining? The best way that I can say to prevent overtraining is take like a couple days of active recovery during the week. That doesn't mean don't not work out. It just means have a couple days where your workouts aren't at like 100% every single day, if that makes sense. And also listening to your body when you feel like you have an injury. There's a difference between being sore and having a little bit of pain and having an injury. And we all know when we have an injury versus when we have pain. So definitely take time off if you're experiencing an injury. I do that, I promise. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the best at it. But when I do experience injuries, I know it's best for me to take time away from the gym. Like when I had this hernia scare, I was like, you know what? I gotta back up. I can't push it, because if I push it, it could get worse, and it ended up turning out not to be a hernia. But yeah, guys, simply to put it, do not overtrain. So a lot of you guys are probably wondering,
What in the hell did Levi just make?
I'm gonna show you. So aside from the burnt sourdough, I have a piece of sourdough bread, or 2 pieces for today because they're so damn small. That's why they burned. I forgot to change the setting. I have an 85-15 ground beef patty on there, and then we have some non-fat Greek yogurt that I got for Costco, and then we have some honey on top of it. You might be thinking, what the actual hell kind of meal is that? It's one of those meals where it's like, you can't knock it till you try it. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's actually super good. A lot of protein in it. You get some good carbs. You get some other good like source of sugar. It's good, man. It's good. Don't hate on it until you try it. I'm telling y'all are gonna be like, all right, Levi's kind of onto something here. While we're on the topic of food, I want to talk about my next non-negotiable as a hybrid athlete, or something that you should not do. And one thing you should not do is undereat. As a hybrid athlete, we talked about this before, your body is being demanded to do more work. And what I strongly recommend doing so that you don't undereat is eat in a surplus, or in other words, eat 200 to 600 calories above your maintenance. That's just a good marker for me. And here's the best way to draw it up and why that is. So let's just say my current maintenance after I calculate it, if you guys are wondering how to calculate it, there's a calculator down below that you can use to find your maintenance. But just say your maintenance is 2,500 calories, and then all of a sudden you want to start hybrid training and whatnot. Well, I strongly recommend that 200 to 600 calories above or surplus, because let's assume on average from the week that you burn 1,600 calories just from running. That means on average per day, you're burning 250 calories just from running. So that means that you're in a deficit, right? Because you have your 2,500 calorie maintenance minus that 250 a day, which means you're only eating at 2,250 calories a day. And eating in a caloric deficit is not bad, especially if you're trying to lose fat and whatnot, but it can be bad when it goes on for a long extended period of time. It can actually lead to decrease in muscle growth and a lot more other negative things that I probably won't talk about right now. So that being said, just eat in a caloric surplus. In other words, do not undereat. So that is that. Those are my do nots as a hybrid athlete. I would say, in other words, they're kind of more so like non-negotiables, but I don't know, whatever the title is for the video, I'm going to title it that. But I hope you guys found this video like somewhat, I would say, informative and somewhat useful for you, especially those who want to hybrid train. You know, I've been getting a lot of questions about it, so I was like, hey, look, I got to help people so they don't make these mistakes. But that is going to do it for this video, and I'm actually happy because my neck is still driving me crazy. I went to the gym this morning, could barely do my leg workout from how bad my neck had been hurting, and my shoulder can barely even keep up the camera because of my neck. But that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys did, be sure to give it a like. If any of you guys are new here, do not forget to press that subscribe button, because you guys know I will be back. And as always, die trying to do what you love. The sky's the limit. I will see you all in the next one.